Hello, I'm Emma from Rock Power Connections. Today, I'm very quickly going to cover off who owns your installation when you have a new electrical connection to your site. So the electricity distribution network carries electricity between the transmission grid, which is owned by National Grid, and the businesses, householders who are the end users. Overall, there are 14 distribution network operators, which we refer to as DNOs. They each responsible for a very specific geographical area of the country. So the DNOs, they're licensed by Ofgem to distribute electricity. They own, they operate, they maintain the electricity infrastructure, they build new assets. They're also responsible for rectifying any faults or power cuts. There are also independent distribution network operators, which we call IDNOs. They also own and operate, maintain electricity infrastructure very much in the same way that DNOs do. But the networks that they own are new networks. Unlike the DNOs, they're also not geographically constrained. So these are organisations who are very keen to buy new networks all over the country. They are regulated by Ofgem in the same way that DNOs are, slightly amended licence conditions. So when you have a new electricity connection then, who actually owns it? Well, effectively, there can be multiple ownerships. So the DNO or the IDNO will adopt or own up to the meter position. And then anything beyond the meter will be privately owned by that landowner. So the responsibility for maintenance or rectifying faults, anything that's beyond the meter, is absolutely nothing to do with the DNO or the IDNO. That's lies with the private owner. But let's cover off up to the meter then. So if you just have a connection from the low voltage network, your new installation will consist of a final closing joint onto the DNO's network through to, say, something like a heavy duty cutout with just a cable run in between. If you want to get that could be entirely owned by the DNO and revert back to them. If you did want to get it adopted by an IDNO instead, in some cases, they can adopt all the way up to the final closing joint. In other cases, the DNO might request that something called a link box is put in, or sometimes it's just an extra length of cable, and then that joint will become the delineation point for ownership. So from the distribution network up to the link box or the joint could be the DNO. From the link box or joint up to the heavy duty cutout will then be the IDNO. When we get into the realms of high voltage, you will have a substation, and this can be metered at high voltage or low voltage. If it is metered at high voltage, everything from the point on the distribution network all the way up to the ring main unit that you have as part of that substation, that will all be adopted by the DNO. If you want to get it adopted by an IDNO instead, that element is still all adopted by the DNO, with only the actual metering unit that is adopted by the IDNO. In the case of a low voltage metered installation, you will also have a transformer. So you'll have a package substation, and it will be a ring main unit and a package and a transformer. Everything from the final closing joint onto the network up to the ring main unit will be adopted by the DNO. The transformer and the meter, wherever that may be in a building or it might be adjacent to the substation, will be adopted by the IDNO. And in those cases, both parties, both the DNO and the IDNO, will want access to that equipment. So how do DNOs, IDNOs generate income from your connection? So they both earn revenue in exactly the same way. It's the distribution use of system charges. They're included in your energy bill. So they apply to absolutely every connection on the distribution network. You pay them to the energy supplier, and then the DNO or the iDNO will invoice the energy supplier. So regardless of whether you go to a DNO or get your connection adopted by an iDNO, there will be no extra charges levied on you at all. But what is the difference between having something adopted by a DNO or an iDNO then? Well, the iDNOs are making a business model for adopting your asset. They're looking at how much money they're going to make off that meter over a period of time. And what they do is they will, based upon their calculations, offer you an upfront sum of money for the privilege of adopting your network. That's called an asset value. Very much depends upon the voltage at which you're metered, the voltage at which you're connecting, the size, the load, your usage. That asset value is payable upon the energization of your supply. So when we provide a quotation for you, we will include an asset value, which will basically make a very competitive offer to the DNO's proposal. And that's it. Hopefully, a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but I hopefully covered it in enough detail. If you want to talk anything connections, then please, my details are here. They're always happy to talk. And please do get in contact. Thank you.